Let us understand ratios and their applications. We'll begin with how do we write ratios in the given ratio? Continue with writing ratios as 1 is to n, and then we'll have three word problems to solve. Enjoy this journey with Anil Kumar. Our YouTube channel has thousands of videos for you. Look into the playlist for extra practice. All these videos are absolutely free. You can always contact us on globalmathinstitute at gmail.com to learn more. Let us begin with writing numbers in the given ratios. It has huge practical applications. We will see this in many word problems in the playlist. So let's understand the basic concept. So the question could be read as the number 42, the units given to us as meters, could be length of a wire, is to be divided in the ratio of 1 is to 5. So the numbers given in the bracket tells you in which ratio we need to divide, right? So a format, as you can see, helps us to, just write the question and get rid of many words. Make it simple and sweet. Great. So let's see the process of dividing a number into different ratios. Here, you will also notice the ratios could be like 1 is to 5 and could also be three different parts 1 is to 2 is to 5. Correct? But the strategy will be same for each one of them. The very first one, let's begin with. We want to divide 42 in the ratio of 1 is to 5. So basically the ratio is 1 is to 5 and 42 is a whole, right? So this is basically a whole. So if I divide something into 1 is to 5, that means I should have six parts, right? Only then we give one part and then five parts, correct? So total or the whole of a thing is 6, correct? So idea is to first divide the big number into six equal parts, in this case 42 into six equal parts. So that means what? So now focus on these two terms, which is when we add, we get 6, and the number given to us is 42, right? And clearly, 42, when you divide by 6, what you get is 7. So each part is 7. In this case, you can think about the wire being 7 meter long. Now, you give in the ratio of 1 is to 5. So it becomes 7 times 1 as 7, right? So we use 7 times 1 is to 7 times 5. You get the idea. So we multiplied each term by 7. And so we get the answer, which is 7 is to 35. So you can also check that both should be in meters. We have to include the units in such questions. So each wire will be 7 meter long and 35 meter long. When you add them up, you get the whole, which is 42 meters. Makes sense. Okay, so let's practice with five more examples. So now we're talking about dollars, right? So not kgs. Dollar 184. We need to distribute between two persons, for example, in the ratio of 3 is to 5, correct? So when I talk about 3 is to 5, add them up. So we want to make it 8, right? So basically, we have to divide this amount 184 into smaller units, right? 8 of them. Once we have 8 units, we can give 3 to one person and 5 to the other. So when I divide 184 by 8, what do I get? 8 times 2 is 16, 24. 8 times 3 is 24, right? So each unit is 23. We have to now get in the ratio of 3 is to 5. So I'm going to multiply 23 with 3 and also with 5 to get the dollar amounts which is to be distributed between two persons, right? Think like this. If you visualize it as an application, it is easier to understand. Great. So 3 times 23, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 2 is 6. See how easily we are going to do even with big numbers. 5 times 3 is 15, and 5 times 2, 10, and 1, 11. So we get the number 69 and 115. Just to check, if you add 69 and 115, you should get 184, correct? And these numbers are in dollars for us. Perfect. So let's write down dollars. It is important to put the units, especially when they are given to you. Now, the next question, question 3. We have 140 kgs. We need to divide this mass in the ratio 3 is to 4. Means divide them in equal parts. 3 plus 4 is 7, right? So you see how we get 7. 3 plus 4 is 7. So when I divide 140 by 7, what do I get? We get 20, right? So we get 20. 14 goes two times, then we have a 0. Now, since we have 20 and now we want to find the ratio 3 is to 4, so multiply 20 by 3 and 20 by 4. 20 by 3 gives you 60 units, kg, right? So let me write kg here. And 4 times 20 makes it 80 kg. As you can see, adding 60 kg and 40 kg will give you 140 kg. Makes sense, right? Okay, so next three sets I would like you to explore. In this case, we are dividing the quantity in three ratios. First one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 5. Basically, you need to add 1, 2, and 5. And what do you get? You get 3 plus 5 is 8. That means you have to divide 200 by 8 and then multiply whatever you get in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 5. You get the whole idea. Try it out and I'll provide you the solution in a fresh page. Okay, so there we go. So there we go. We have these three examples. So the first one, so 200 liters is the whole quantity, which we'll first divide into what is 1 plus 2 plus 5, which is 8, correct? And we know 200, when you divide by 8, 8 times 2 is 16. 40 means 5. So basically, we have each part which is 25 liters, and this has to be distributed in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 5. So we'll multiply 25 by 1, we get 25. I'm writing liters here, and times 2 gives me 50 liters, and times 5, 5 times 5 is 25. 2, 5 times 2 is 10, 125. You can always check. So it's not a bad idea. You can always check what is 25 plus 50 plus 125. You'll definitely get 200, right? Makes sense? So all the units should be included. 200 liters is divided in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 5. What you get is 25 liters, 50 liters, and 125 liters. Makes sense, right? Great. This time we are working with $1,000 to be distributed in three persons in the ratio of 5 is to 8 is to 12. So each unit will be how much? So what we do is we add 5, 8, and 12, which gives us, well, 5 plus 8 is 13, plus 12 is 25. So we are going to divide 1000 into units of 25 each. So 25 times 4 is 100 and then a 0. So what we get is each unit or packet of $40, which we need to give in the ratio of 5 is to 8 is to 12. So when you multiply 40 with 5, what do you get? So this dollar amount which you get is 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 4 is 20. So $200. When you do with 8, 8 times 4 is 32, so we get 320, right? And 12 times 4 is 48 for $80. Makes sense, right? So I squeezed it in, right? So that is what it is, and you can definitely check that 200 plus 320 plus 480 is $1,000. Makes sense. The last question for you: 153 grams is to be divided in the ratio of 1 is to 3 is to 5. So first add these numbers, correct? So it is 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 5 is 9. Now you divide 153 by 9, right? So 9 times 1 is 9, you get 63. 9 times 7 is 63. So 17 we have to give in the ratio of 1 is to 3 is to 5. Big numbers to multiply with. 17 times 1 is 17, right? So we got, 17 grams. So don't forget the units. So we get 17 grams, right? 3 times 7, 21 to 51 grams. 5 times 7, 35, 3, and 5 and 3 is 8, 85 grams. So that becomes the final answer when we divide 153 grams in the ratio of 1 is to 3 is to 5. It's 17 grams is to 51 grams to 85 grams. So I hope with this exercise you clearly understand how the whole can be distributed in different ratios. We will now have few examples where the ratio will be written as 1 is to n. And after that, we are going to take up three word problems. Connecting ratios with rates is the objective of this video. I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We have thousands of videos for you to explore and learn. Here, we are going to discuss what are ratios and how do we write them in the simplest form, which is express the ratio in the form 1 is to n. Now, this is a very important form since it gives you rate sometimes in word problems, right? So this is also like thinking about rate, right? So as we go through the examples, we'll kind of relate it to practical applications, which will give you more meaning than just writing the ratios in terms of 1 is to n. The whole idea is to have a great foundation for mathematics and then do amazingly well in coming times. So, six questions right there before you. We have given you six different ratios. Let us write each one of them in the form of 1 is to n. The very first one is 3 is to 12. So, we need to write 3 as 1. And if we do so, what will be 12? So, to get 1 from 3, what we did was we divided by 3, correct? Now, since these are ratios, we have to do the same operation. We are going to divide 12 by 3 and we get 4. So 1 is to 4. So that is what we get the ratio, correct? Now, let us say if you're buying some plants and then three plants are costing you $12, then what is the cost of one plant? See that. So one plant will cost you $4. So it gives you a rate of a plant in that particular case. So I hope it makes sense, right? Question number two is 15 to 45. Once again, we have to write 15 as 1, right? So then it is 1 is to what? That ratio we are looking forward to. We need to definitely divide 15 by 15 to get 1. And on the other side also we'll divide by 15. So 45 when divided by 15 is 3, and therefore this ratio is 1 is to 3. Now this kind of division you can also do on the side. So basically what I did here was that I divided 45 by 15, correct? So 15 times table may not be known to you, but you can divide them each by 5. If I do that, then 5 times 9 is 45 and 5 times 3 is 15. And then again, we can divide them by 3, writing this as 3 here. So that is how we could get the term 3 by step division or simplification of a fraction, right? So I've just shown you this sometimes may be required, especially when the numbers are high. For example, the last 45 to 360. You can try this out by following the method which I've just discussed with you. Let's move on to the next ratio where we want to write 6 is to 42 as 1 is to what? We know 6 times 7 is 42. So that makes sense, right? So basically each term is 7 times, right? So 6 times 7 is 42, 1 times 7 works for us. That is another way of looking into the same question, right? Makes sense, right? Perfect. 13 to 39, we want to write this as 1 is to what? And 13 times 3 is 39. So we have used the same concept of times, right? Multiplication and division are similar operations. So you could think in terms of either multiplication or division. 20 to 100. So we want to write here 1. That means I have to divide 100 by 20, right? So we have to divide by 20. Zeros cancel. 10 goes 5 times. So 1 is to 5 is the answer in the simplest form 1 to n, right? 45 to 360. In this case, we are dividing each term by 45, correct? So you get 1 for sure here. And how do you do 360 by 45? Now, once again, big numbers. Let's do it in steps. Dividing by 9, for example, 9 times 5 is 45, and 9 times 4 is 36, and then a 0. And now it's simple. We know 5 times 8 is 40, and so we get 1 is to 8 right there, you can see, correct? So we have done the division part, and we got 1 is to 8. So with that, you have understood how do we write a given ratio as kind of a rate, right? Or 1 is to what? Very important thing. And we have also seen different ways of looking into it. One by a process of dividing both by the same number, the other by what times what can work for you. I hope it makes sense. Let us try to understand how do we solve word problems related to ratios and proportions. Here are three questions which we are going to answer in this particular video. These are the type of questions which you should know to master strategies of solving problems related to ratios and proportions. Let's begin with the solution of the very first problem, which is if 3 by 8 of the children in a school are boys, what is the ratio of boys to girls? So, we are given that 3 by 8 of the children in a school are boys. So, this is boys, children. So, children include both boys and girls, right? So, what is the ratio of boys to girls? If 3 by 8 are boys to children, in that case, how many will be girls to children? Well, out of 8, 3 are boys. This means out of 8 children, 3 are boys. Remaining are girls, right? So that means 5 are girls. Makes sense. Now we need to find the ratio of boys to girls, right? So the ratio of boys to girls will be what? 3 to 5. Is that clear to you? So you could write in this form 3 is to 5, or you could also write 3 by 5. You get the idea. So that is how we are going to answer this particular question. Now let's look into question number 2, which is if A to B equals to 2 to 3 and B to C is 5 to 6, find the ratio of A, B, and C. So we are given that the ratio of A to B is equal to 2 is to 3, and that of B to C is equal to 6 to 5. What we want to find is what is the ratio of A to B to C. Perfect. Now let's try to understand this strategy. The idea is we know A to B and B to C. We want to relate all. So what we should do is find something which is common, right? So A to B can also be written as, instead of 2 to 3, multiplying by 3 will give us, multiplying by 2 will give us 4 to 6. Do you see that? Now you see that the ratio of A to B is 4 to 6, B to C is 6 to 5, and we can easily correlate it. You get the whole idea, right? So that's the key. So when we are looking into three ratios like A, B, and C, so see what we were given. In short, we were given that A to B is 2 is to 3, right? And we were also given that B to C is 6 to 5. Now, to make B common, what should we do? We should multiply this by 2. And if I do that, if I multiply this by 2, what do I get? Times 2. I get 4 to 6. And now we can correlate. See, both B's are 6, right? So we can get the ratio as 4 is to 6 is to 5. Is that clear to you? So that is the neat strategy to relate three ratios when two of them are given, right? As shown here. So the answer is A is to B is to C is equal to 4 is to 6 is to 5. Perfect. Now here's the last question, question number 3, which is a word problem. It says, if $800 is distributed between Anil, Ben, and Cole so that Anil has twice as much as Ben. So we want to distribute between Anil, Ben, and Cole. So, so Anil has twice as much as Ben, and Ben has three times as much as Cole. So Ben relates all the three. So Ben has three times as well as Cole. So let's say that number of dollars which Cole gets is X. Then Ben has three times, Ben will be 3x. And Anil has twice as much as Ben, means 2 times 3x. You get the whole idea, right? So basically, Anil gets 6x if Ben gets 3x and Cole gets x. So let's find what is the total. Since we have a total amount of 800, right? So total will be 6 plus 3, 9 plus 1, 10. So 10x. Now this is the total, and in dollars we have total amount as $800. So x is equal to what? So from here we can say x is equal to 800 by 10, which is 80. So once we know what x is, we can find how much amount will each one get, right? We are mainly interested in how much does Ben receive. So Ben receives 3x. So we can now write down our answer. Ben receives 3 times x is 80, right? Which is $240. Perfect. So with this, we have solved all the three questions which we began with. I hope you have understood the strategy of solving them. Feel free to write your comments, share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your valuable time and all the best.